Istanbul, everybody. My name is Yuka Majais, and today we're going to be playing Echo again. We're going to continue with Flynn's route. Let's see what's in store for us. I remember the last time playing, like, he was getting real freaky with us, and I was not okay with that. Freaky lizard. Okay. I. He doesn't seem to be in the mood for another go, though. So I'm content just to lay there and listen to his deep breaths. What's wrong with me? Wanted to know what happened. I pause in my rubbing, resting my paw in the middle of his stomach. He tenses it for a second, so I continue the rubbing. Nothing. I guess it's how you go about doing it. He grunts. Doesn't matter how I do it. He's gonna be upset. Might be easy if you try to go at it more delicately. Flynn takes a deep breath and I watch my hand rise and forward. He's hiding something. You know it too. I don't say anything. We lay like that for a while. Flynn breathing softly onto my ears, his fingers creep over my arm to tease at a nipple. Everyone does. But they still treat me like I'm some sort of monster for wanting to know. I press down suddenly and he grunts loudly into my ear as he tenses up against my hand. You don't really think what you did at the river was... But wait, ow! I cringe as Flynn pinches my nipple. That's great. He doesn't say anything though, and we lay in silence for a while longer. I just... Sydney didn't deserve that. I swallow. No. I mean, I know he was a dick, but he came from a rough place. I just listened, not wanting to say something wrong. Flynn never opened up like this. You guys didn't know him like I did. I stopped rubbing and I took my head to look up at Flynn. His eyes are open, staring up at the ceiling. Chase, I need to find out what happened. Flynn. No, I'm sick of wondering. I'm sick of imagining. He looks down at me, and the expression on his face is strange. I'm gonna talk to him again. Who? TJ? I hear my voice rising in concern. He doesn't say anything. Flynn, I sit up. Don't do that. Glares at me. Yeah, why not? It's probably the last chance I'll get. But I try to think of something to say. Nothing good will come out of it. If he hasn't said anything until now, then he probably never will. We'll see about that. The implication in his voice sends a chill down my spine. Flynn, the lizard looks away from me. What? I'm not gonna do anything. Just talk. And if he doesn't say anything, Flynn stares at the wall. Then I guess that's that. But I wanna talk to him. Without laying there to coddle him like some little kid. Put my face in my hands and rub slowly. I know Flynn will never want to hurt TJ, but he can get so emotional. And what if TJ says the wrong thing? Just let me go with you when you... Flynn turns his head to look back at me. Why? I just want to be there for keeping things grounded. Flynn stares hard at me. Maybe. He likes you, so maybe that'll be good. Continues to stare at me and I feel a little uncomfortable. What? You just have to promise one thing. What? I say it a bit more slowly. Don't get in the way. Don't try to defend him, even if he's acting all sad and shit. I look back at him, unsure of what I'll say. I don't want TJ to get hurt, and the thought of the confrontation is making me feel sick. But I don't want him to be alone when this happens either. The thought of telling one of the others, Jenna or Leo, comes to mind. But I know that it'll be a fucking catastrophe if I do. That would be the end of a lot of friendships. This still left the chance that they would survive. Either way, I'm gonna have to promise him if I want a chance to go along. But whether or not I keep that promise... Oh, whether or not I keep that promise. No, I mean, I've played cheat. I think it's better than rely. I want to see what happens. How could I not go stand up for TJ if he goes too far? TJ is sensitive. That's not what I wanted to do, but I'll just roll with it, I guess. And if Flynn gets a chance to go with him completely undefended, yeah, okay. Flynn's eyes now. I feel my heart skip a beat. Does he know I'm lying? His eyes are so piercing, it's like he's looking through me, trying to find something that's behind me. Finally, Flynn lays his hand back and closes his eyes. Good. A sign stare at my naked balls. Ah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Maybe take a shower. I will do the same thing after you mentioned that. Alright. I get up onto unsteady feet and head into the hallway, wondering if I should try. Oh, thank God he's wearing pants. Hello? What's wrong with you? Open my eyes blearily, waking up to the sound of something pounding in the distance. I stare at the ceiling a moment, then abruptly pop myself on my elbows. Looking, oh, that's the train. Where the hell? Oh yeah, that's not the train. Flynn's room. I'd fallen asleep on Flynn's bed naked after I'd taken a shower. Turns out the lizards don't have dryers, so I was left to air dry. I was tired, so Finn had let me lay out on his bed and a few towels, and that's where I am right now. Guess I fell asleep. Again, the pounding. I look over to my right and I see Flynn curled up, his back facing me. I think he's naked as well for a moment. Then I see he's got boxer briefs on, the black color blending in with his skin. I reach over to poke the rough skin on his scaly back. Frills on the back on his neck flail out for a second, then lay back down. Almost do it again, but Flynn's grumpy, annoyed as hell tone stops me. What? I clear my throat. Sorry, but it sounds like I don't have to say it because the pounding starts back up again, echoing up the hallway. What the fuck? Flynn pushes himself up into a sitting position, squinting as the hallway through the door. What time is it? Flynn rolls on the bed and starts putting on a shirt. I grab my phone, glad to see that it still has half as charged. It's 9. At the same time, I notice that I have texts, several of them, from Leo. Shit. What? Flynn hops around the room as he tries to pull on some pants. My eyes scan over the text, realizing who is likely is that's not on the door. The message is starting about 2 hours ago. Hey, I was at the motel and you aren't there. Jenna says she doesn't know where you are either. She says you didn't spend the night there. You and Flynn are the only ones not answering my messages. Are you at this house? Hello? I feel my stomach go into a knot. Fuck. Hmm? Flynn whirls on me, annoyed, now fully dressed. The knocking has stopped, but I'm still uneasy about what I've just found out. I think it's Leo. What? That time Flynn sounds panicked. He's been texting me all morning. He thinks I'm here now. I show Flynn my screen, but he barely looks at it. He's got his arms folded, his mind clearly racing. You know he can't find out that I spent the night here. Why? I try to keep my voice under control. I know. Yeah, we both know. Things are basically over between Leo and I. But that doesn't change the fact that this will bring up all kinds of problems in a little friend group. Flynn paces for a few seconds and turns back to me. Well, he's gone now. I can just get Carl to say that you spent the night at his. So he texted Carl. Shit. Flynn groans and hangs back his head. Well, you asked him if you spent the night there? No, just he didn't know where I am. At least that's what he said in the text. I'll just tell him I don't know, and Carl can say that you were there. Don't you think Carl would have told? Flynn suddenly reaches out, grabbing my shoulder and throwing me sideways onto the bed. I stare at him wide-eyed, but he's not looking at me. Instead, he's staring at the window behind me. What? He throws his hand out in my face, silencing me. Flynn moves to the window, and that's when I notice a big shadow shifting around there. I scramble to the other side of the bed, heart hammering in my chest. Did he see me? The curtain is covering most of the window, but the foot-long gap at the end is just enough to look in. Flynn starts pantomiming in front of the window, shrugging his shoulders and shaking his head. Finally, he drops his arms with a sigh and leans to crack the window open. What the hell are you doing? Why the hell did you answer your door? His voice is angry. Honestly, a lot more angry than I would have expected, despite the situation. I just woke up. I was knocking for like 5 fucking minutes. I'm a heavy sleeper. You're dressed in everything. I just got dressed. Most people don't go peeking into windows when they don't get an answer, though. Flynn glares through the window. I quietly roll off the bed so I can hide better, even if I'm not in view of the window from here. I listen. I'm just looking for Chase. Have you seen him? No. Flynn shifts his position a bit in my direction as if trying to block Leo's view. Looking for something? Yeah, Chase. Well, he ain't here. Why would he be? He stayed behind you at the party, didn't he? Yeah, then ran off to do some projects or something. It's a long pause. Pu- Puchita? Puchicha? Can I come in for a sec? I need a drink. What? Go back to your house, man. You're saying you don't want me to come in? Flynn sighs loudly, rubbing his eyes. I'm saying I'm tired. It's 10 in the fucking morning. It's 9, but yes, sometimes I stay up late. Why? Flynn lowers his hand from his eyes and glares at Leo. Listen, I'm not really in the mood for this right now. Another long pause. You're acting a little crazy right now, too. Leo has always been crazy. Listen, I'll be on my way if I can come in for a bit. I'm fucking burning up. I see Flynn push his forehead against the glass, eyes closed, frustration written all over his face. Alright, a glass of water, then get out, so I can go back to sleep. Fine. That Flynn closes the window, watching it for a while before sighing loudly again. Alright, stay here, got it? If he knows you're here, we'll both know he'll kill us both. Yeah. Alright, if for whatever reason he comes back here, hide under the fucking bed if you had to. With that, Flynn turns and heads out the door into the hallway. The last thing he said had me feeling like shit. Sneaking around behind Leo's back like this is wrong. Even I know telling him about it will be worse. Is it my fault that Leo can't get over our relationship? I have the right to do what I want, right? A sigh pressed my forehead into the bed. Staring at my crotch, that's when I realize I'm still naked. I look up, listening. I hear the front door open, followed by some distant mumbling from Leo. If I sneak to the bathroom real quick, I can grab my clothes. Maybe stay there until Leo leaves. At least that way it won't look as bad if he finds me for whatever reason. I get up and pad quietly to the hall, listening. I can hear some clinking around the kitchen, then a murmur of some voices. The kitchen is practically out of sight from the hall, which leads me to the living room. I stand there for a moment longer, tail twitching as I contemplate if this is a good idea or not. The moment I hear Leo's voice coming from the kitchen area again, I quickly tiptoe the short distance to the bathroom. Despite not having come close at all to being caught, my heart still stammers in my chest. The voices continue to mumble in the kitchen as I start looking around for my clothes. They folded neatly on the counter and I quickly snatch them up. Pretty sure I wouldn't smell on you. I catch a few words from Leo then that makes my ears perk. Something about smell? Oh yeah, he's a wolf. He would know a lot about smell. Leo smells a lot of things. He has a canine's nose. My eyes widen. Did he smell me on Flynn? I'm pretty sure Flynn hasn't showered since what he did yesterday. My heart rate picks up again and I feel my knees wanting to give out. Where the fuck are you going? This time I do hear Flynn and know exactly what it means. The only problem is that I'm still naked in the fucking bathroom. Should I lock the door? Then Leo would definitely know someone's here and it's probably me. Fuck. I mouthed the word, knowing that Leo would hear it if he said it now. I hear heavy footsteps coming up the hall. I definitely can't go back to the room and I hide under the bed. Sorry. The bed now. They don't keep coming towards the bathroom though. The movements become somewhat muffled again as they turn into Flynn's room. This is fucking crazy, Leo. If Leo heard Flynn, he doesn't say anything. I anticipate the sound of Leo ripping up Flynn's room, but I guess he isn't that far gone because things go quiet again. There isn't then there's a pacing around, along with some heavy breathing. You realize I could call the cops, right? I hear the closet door open. I look around desperately, realizing that I don't have much time. The first thing I see is a shower curtain in the bathtub. It's a see-through blue color, so there's no way I can stand behind it and not be seen. I hear shifting around in the other room again, and the bickering becomes more clear as they step back into the hall. Panicking and practically numb with fear, I crouch down and pull open a cupboard under the sink. Amazingly, there's only a few bottles of cleaning solutions, leaving plenty of room for me to squeeze in. As quietly as I can, I crawl into the opening. Reaching back out, I pull the door closed, setting my other hand against it as I do so, that it won't spring shut. Everything goes dark and their voices become muffled once again. I back up against the very back of the enclosure, hugging my knees as I try to keep my breathing quiet. It's actually a little while before they come into the bathroom and I almost jump as Leo's voice booms in the small space. "The smell is all over your fucking house. Then you should probably shower more." It's a small silence, and I imagine that Leo just gave him a look that shattered any surly confidence that he might have had. "Like I said, he was here for like an hour yesterday. And why didn't you fucking tell me that earlier?" "Because I knew you'd be acting like this. Seriously." Their footsteps shift again in time with their voices muffling. I dare to let off a small sigh of relief. I can still hear them arguing, but I don't really care enough. You, why is it in second perspective? No, you pass into, you pass through the cupboard door into the bathroom. You follow the voices down to the hall, into the kitchen. Leo is on his way to the door. He stops in front of it, turning back around for Flynn, who's following close behind. "You're really starting to piss me off, Flynn. And you're really starting to freak me out, Leo." All of that still doesn't explain why his smell is all over you. Flynn works his jaw for a moment, eyes narrowed. I'm confused. Did we like get possessed or something? We roughed house a little bit by the mind. By the mind. You know how we get sometimes? It was really hot. Leo is shaking his head like he's tired of listening to what Flynn has to say. Like he's tired of everything. And then have it mixed with that smell? Flynn throws his hands up, exasperated. "I jerked off later. Sorry, but this ain't any of your business." You know, it kind of fucking is, since I planned out the entire fucking thing. Leo's starting to lose his temper again. You know, this isn't like Leo at all. "Calm down. Jesus. Maybe, maybe he went off to do more research or whatever. Said he wasn't done at the mine." At the mine. Leo's not listening anymore. He's looking to the side, staring at the wall, hackles raised. "Listen, I'll drive around town real quick to see if I can find him before work. Flynn, you know you ruined the whole thing for me, right?" "Thing? For you? What are you talking about?" "And it'll be fucking damn if I let you do it again." The anger and spite in Leo's face is staring Flynn. "Leo, what's going on?" But Leo still isn't listening. The wolf turns sharply away, yanking open the door. "Leo!" Flynn reaches out, resting a hand on Leo's shoulder. But at that moment, the wolf throws an elbow back into Flynn, so hard that the lizard is sent stumbling back several steps before falling on his knees. Flynn lets out a hoarse groan, but Leo ignores it, slamming the door shut on his way out. Flynn stays like that, doubled over the carpet, making soft rasping noises before his breathing finally comes under his control. He stays there a while longer, absorbing what just happened, knowing that isn't himself either. Also regrets doing anything with. Who is talking? Finally, he looks up right at you. You decide to leave. There's really no point to try and reason with him. It's been a while since you've been out alone like this. It feels good not being attached. Something about that lizard. Flynn is helping this happen. You'll have to deal with him later. As you continue to walk down the dirt road, you see him. It takes a while at first because it's so far away, but then you see that thick tail waving back and forth as he approaches you. Can he see? Probably. It's been a long time since you were attached. But the feelings, the thoughts, you can remember it like it was yesterday. The new one is better, a lot more quiet. At least you made him quiet. It was easy to do with this one. He keeps walking towards you and you start to wonder if you should turn back. You always snap back eventually. Why not let this play out? Let's see how far this will go. Now that you're this close, you can see water dripping off his body, even after all these years. Finally, you can make out his face. Angry. No, furious. Finally seeing you again. He doesn't like what you did, and who can blame him? He starts to run towards you. You finally stop walking, waiting. He's on you in a second, lunging, blunt claws and sharp teeth bared. I keep wondering if I should come out myself. The last time I heard any voices was like almost 5 minutes ago. Still, I realize they could both be outside or something, and I don't want to come running out if Leo decides to come back in. So I wait, starting to feel sweaty in my cramped position, my nose twitching from the strong chemical smells. I probably have to take another shower. We were in the we were in the cupboard the entire time? After another few minutes, I hear a soft padding up the hallway. I know it's Flynn, but I wait. Another few seconds of silence go by before Flynn finally speaks. He's gone! So how are we gonna... Wait, okay. Thick Tail has water... I wonder if Samuel Ayers, the spirit that we learned about that was inside us. What if that's the guy that was narrating a second perspective? And what if the guy that he's talking about is a dead character? What if it's Sydney? Like the boy that we drowned as a kid. What if we are talking about Sydney? So how are we gonna explain to Leo that Carl just forgot I was there? I pull my shirt over my head, feeling kinda gross, pulling back on my musky shirt. Flynn stands in front of his dresser's mirror, having just finished putting on his tie. He's currently picking at his scales with a pair of Ow! Carl forgets everything, especially when he gets high. Just all the time. Flynn's been acting kinda distant after the whole Leo incident. It's not hard to imagine why. I'm feeling the same way. Leo almost finding out, probably finding out, had put a damper on our stupid excursions. It really put into perspective how immature we were being. Alright, so I'll say I spent the night at Carl's, then left in the morning to do some filming. Thinking back, Flynn had told me to text all of this to Carl before I go over there. The only response I've gotten so far was a short "what?" We don't got any other choices. I guess not. And Chase, we probably shouldn't do this anymore. Yeah, I know. Flynn glances at me through the mirror, then turns to picking at his skin. He clears it. Oh, is it like shaving for him? I know this is kind of gross, but it's fine. We've all got our gross things to deal with. Can't go into work looking like I got snowed on. Heh? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even really get that bad, but... Flynn breaks off awkwardly as he goes back to his grooming. It's weird seeing him this off. But again, it's not like it's unwarranted. I sit on the edge of the bed, texting Carl again to try and get him to at least partially understand what the plan is. After a couple of minutes, Flynn clears his throat again. Listen, Chase, you ever feel a little bit like not yourself? Hmm? Look up and see that the lizard is looking at me through the mirror again. He quickly turns his attention back to his speaking. I don't know, like You're not fully in control of what you do. I frowned. Is Flynn trying to get at something? Explain his own actions? Does he feel he wasn't in control of what happened between us? No, at least I don't think so. Flynn finally puts down the tweezers and turns to me, leaning his rear against the dresser. So you've never felt like you're not yourself? Though I'm not totally sure as to what Flynn is getting at, I decide to humor him and think. I guess after what happened when we were kids, it didn't feel right. After Sydney? Yeah. I tried to avoid talking about it directly, but Flynn doesn't seem to be bothered right now. You probably remember that I saw a therapist after because I felt so different and it scared me. Flynn nods. Did they figure it out? Kinda. If I remember right, they said it was like a dissociative thing. What's that? Like sometimes when something really traumatic happens, your mind sort of distances from yourself to protect you. I shrug. Something like that. I'm not very good at psych stuff. Yeah, ask Jenna. I would tell Flynn to ask Jenna, but of course he can't. So did they fix it? Not really, but I got used to it, I guess. It was like the new me. And you okay with that? I shrug again. My therapist said it's really traumatic things that can change the way your brain works forever. You just learn to live with it. That doesn't sound good. No, but it's a part of life. I think we've all changed. Yeah, I don't go into detail about how it got worse over time. The whole not feeling like myself. How I felt more and more like my personality was bleeding away. That I'm completely different person now than I was 10 years ago. Because in the back of my mind, I wonder if that's what it's like to grow up. That you become less like you were as a kid. Happy, carefree, a complete douchebag, and turn into a whole shell of that. I can still feel Flynn looking at me, so I decide to bring up something that just as comfortable, since we're already there. So, when are you planning to talk to TJ? Flynn's silent for only a second. Saturday, at the end of your trip. I'm not sure if that's the best idea. It doesn't leave much to make amends if things turn sour, which they most likely will. But then I guess that means we really will easily be able to just leave as soon as it's over. Okay. Flynn's still looking at me, so I abruptly stand up, putting my phone back into my pocket. Anyway, you ready to go? I don't want to make you late for work. Sure. Flynn finally straightens up, walking across the room to grab his keys. I'm glad they just have somewhere to go now. Flynn feeling off like this is one of the most awkward experiences I've ever had. Probably because he's usually so good at making things not awkward. So with that, Flynn takes me to Carl's house, dropping me off before heading to work. I sit quietly next to Carl on the couch as he plays his video games. It's some kind of first-person shooter that I've never seen before. No, I'm not all shooters, but this one is pretty good. Yeah? I try to act interested as I browse through my phone. Freddy texted Leo, apologizing and telling him that my phone had died. It's weird how quickly the guy's gotten out of control, making things up as I go at this point, and I'm amazed at how easy it is. Leo hasn't responded, and I doubt he believes any of it. Still gives both of us room to pretend, though. Yeah, man, I think this is my elements. I could never play one of the World War shooters. Oh, so you're playing something like Halo. Saying, so you're not really a Call of Duty fan. Kyle clicks around with the controller for a while longer. Right? Sigh loudly, finally tearing my eyes away from my phone. Yeah, I'm good. But you don't seem good. I don't respond to that, instead choosing to zone out to whatever's happening on the screen. What's with the whole story anyway? About you spending the night or whatever? Uh, I debate whether it's worth telling Kyle or not. He'd go along with it either way, but keeping all of his secrets is starting to make him stick. Well, I spent the night at Flynn's. Leo found that I wasn't at the motel. He came looking for me. Ah, shit, did you and Flynn, let the silence hang for a while. Carl snorts. Wow. Come on, Carl. No, no, I don't mind. It just seems kind of weird. How so? I feel myself get defensive. Not really in the mood to be judged by Carl. Yeah, he's cool and everything, but his life, let alone his sex life, doesn't exactly put him in a position to do so. Well, he just barely got here like 5 days ago, and already. I, you know how Flynn is. Oh, dude, does he just have sex with everyone? Yeah, I do. So you shouldn't be surprised. But I mean, we've known him since we were just kids. This feels a little bit. Carl, I'm not really in the mood right now. Carl goes quiet for a few more minutes. The clicking buttons on his controller are the only sound. It doesn't last long though. You know, I saw you guys at the river a couple days back. Oh shit, I saw you too. I mean, I saw you guys. Carl, I just said I'm not in the mood. Carl shrugs. Just, I already know. It's cool. I keep quiet, hoping that we'll get Carl to drop this stupid subject already. It doesn't work, but I get why you gotta keep it from people like this. I put my phone out to see if I've got any text from Leo yet. I haven't. He and Leo don't hang out all that much, so I think he talks a lot about. I try to ignore the guilt that's steadily building up inside me. Just smoke today because you're being real talkative right now. Only act because I don't smell it. Yours is pretty strong. Actually, I had an edible this morning. Cuddles for a good long while after that. Oh, really? I massage my brow with a thumb and forefinger. Normally, I get along great with Kyle, especially when he's high. But after this morning, basically everything is getting on my nerves. I usually hate that shit, but I don't know. Guess I was bored today. Those things shoot me into fucking space. Guess it explains why you won't shut up. Hey, am I pissing you off? I immediately regret what I just said as Kyle puts the game on pause. No, just had a stressful morning. With Leo. Kyle starts the game back giggling again as he shoots a space marine into space. This is you're playing Warhammer? You're playing Warhammer! Oh, that's cool! Mm-hmm. Finally, a text from Leo. Good. Another one immediately followed. Let's hang out sometime soon. But you know, Flynn cares about you too. Yeah? Text Leo affirmative though. I'm not really sure when that hangout is gonna happen. Yeah, let's stop talking about drove to the reservation. Really? That isn't really out of the ordinary. What the hell would Flynn have to say about me? Carl shrugs. Bunch of stuff. He wants to buy you something from the reservation, but he thought it might be too weird. Flynn buying me a gift? That is kind of weird. For Flynn, I mean. I thought it was kind of cute. What else did he say? Um, Carl seems to think hard while he continues to shoot guys on the screen. Twist the control this way and that, bumping into my shoulders. Said you seem to have grown up a lot. That you're way different than as a teenager. Hmm? Yeah, real cute. Carl's tone seems slightly annoyed there, but I don't really care enough to ask about it. By the way, how's the project going? You reminded I have an entire project to do doesn't ease a knot that's formed in my stomach. Not that great. Still need a lot of film and research. What kind of research? Stuff about Echo, like history stuff. Yep. Carl plays a while longer than sits down his controller. Mom has some Echo to tell her. Oh yeah, what's that route? We ain't going into your cellar. Pauses. Oh, Flynn is like records, right? Work, yeah. I already know what Kyle is getting into, and honestly, I want to think about it in the first place. Kyle turns to me, a loopy grin on his face. Those edibles really do fuck with him. So let's go get some records for him. Probably better than digging around in my basement. Well, yeah, we should, but I don't even know what to get. Don't worry about it, dude. I go down there to shoot the shit with him. Time. You can ask him. Things aren't exactly cool between Flynn and I right now, but it's something to do. I'm so behind on my project at this point, I don't have any excuses. Motherfuckers, this house looks deep fried as hell. We pull into the gravel parking lot in front of the city hall. The stucco structure looks a hell of a lot more weathered than I remember it. Top drapes the roof, and one of the windows is blacked out with plastic. City Hall is probably the oldest building still standing in Echo. From what I read on the county's website, it served as the town's post office back in the early 20th century. Before then, it was an outpost used as an intelligence operations center during the years leading up to the Mormon Rebellion. Is that an actual thing? The Mormon Rebellion? Government spies were planted into the nearby settlements from Colville to Peyton and delivered their reports on potential agitators at this outpost. They actually kept a priest on hand to help reaffirm the spies' faith in the true word of Christ. Oh, that's interesting. It's weird to think that Sydney was the last woman I knew. Are you sure Flynn works here? I exit my car, watching Carl stare ahead. His eyes are half lidded, the ram seeming to stare from miles before the building in front of us. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Alright, Carl doesn't move. Are you gonna come out? Rambling slowly, his mouth starting to hang agape. He shifts his bloodshot gaze shift towards my torso. Nah, my parents would flip. He flops his wrist in front of him limply, his tone tinged with effeminacy. Off the car. Yeah, just give me a sec. Carl reaches down, unscrewing the lid from his water bottle, taking a few hot glugs. Carl grabs the car door handle. He hesitates. After a moment, he looks back at me. He's completely silent, sucking in his cheek on the side. Carl. Finally, he speaks. I sort of agreed to come, but I considered that I'll be talking to anyone but you recruited, alone mayor and stuff. I'm still stoned as balls and like shit. He laughs some in a self-deprecating fashion, visibly sheepish besides THC still flowing through. I think I might just chill here in your car, the air conditioning, and good tactics. He holds up his phone. I think he just barely spots the icon for it. He sees other game apps. Carl does look high, though he doesn't appear any worse than he usually looks. He has games on his phone, telling him that probably wouldn't do much for his confidence, though. I mean, just reassure him, because we know that from his route that he's depressed. Carl, man, you're acting pretty sobered up right now. You don't smell like weed too fiercely, at least to my outer senses. Really? God, the senses must be pretty dull. Your BO is overpowering it. Carl hastily sniffs himself, then tries to air out his hoodie at the bottom by flapping it up and down. I'm just messing with you. Heh, you're fine. I have some sunglasses in the glove box to cover your eyes. Carl sighs, tugging open the dash. A few crumpled receipts, a registration slip, an insurance brochure, and a pair of slightly dusty sunglasses are visible in the compartment. Ah, they tortoise shell. It's that kind of girly. What guys can wear tortoise shell style ones? Is that like a polka dot or something? My mom wears these colored sunglasses all the time. I literally can't see this without picturing her. Well, like that's your personal thing. No one else thinks that. He slides them onto his face. They rest somewhat awkwardly on his sizable snout, able to settle in place neatly. Damage your nose is too big. Carl pulls the shades off his face and limply tosses them in the dash, leaning back into his seat with a long exit. I think I should just stay in the car, seriously. I need your help with some of the stuff, Carl. I feel all awkward if he was just there for hours, just sitting waiting for me. It's fine. I'll just get in your way. I'm not really good at such stuff. There's a difference between exploring old records, interesting info, and frantically searching for stuff. Online the night before papers due, Carl. He doesn't budge, the ram staring at his phone in his lap. What's the matter with you? You look fine. You just stop putting a spotlight on me, dude. What? He idly taps at his phone, though he's just blankly flipping through screens at the moment. Carl, the ram pushes open the car door and steps out, looking away from me. Alright. Thank you. It's acting absolutely bizarre. Part of me hopes this is just a weird side effect of the evidence from the morning. We'll talk later, okay? Carl sniffs, shrugging his shoulders. He's trying to act nonchalant. Sure, dude. What do you want me to do? I do my best attempt reassuring Carl as a reassuring smile. For Carl's sake, I don't really feel too cheery at the moment though. First, we should get the tripod and camera out of the trunk. We can get some B-roll out of the building while we're here. The camera is kept separate in a padded hard case. See if we can get the tripod set up with the camera on it. I'm gonna head inside, say hello, and get permission to film real quick. I pop the trunk with buttons on my keys. Carl looks towards the equipment with a thin-lipped expression. Okay. There's a bubble level on the tripod. Just make sure the bubble is in the center circle when you set it up. That means it's level. That way our shot won't be all crooked. Once it's good, you just slide the camera so that it's hooked into place from the back of the stand. Make sure that it clicks. That means it's locked. Uh-huh. Carl digs his paws into the insides of his hoodie, still staring at the trunk. Okay, I'll be right back. Leaving Carl, I head towards the front door. I'm still not sure what's up with it, but pressing him on it now doesn't seem like a good idea. Stepping into the city hall, first thing I notice is how dry the air feels, like there's no ventilation to speak of. Makes me feel like I'm standing inside a really slow baking oven. Half of me wants to run out and jump into the first body of water I can find, while the other half just wants to curl up into a ball and nap. The faint droning of a voiceover on the speaker is audible, like some sort of outdoorsy hunting and fishing podcast. Chase? Flynn's tail leading from emerges from one of the hallways, a stack of emblems in hand. We stare at each other for a few seconds at the reality of what we've done with one another is hanging pretty poignantly in the air. Hey. He exhales, his demeanor shifting. His raised shoulders going more lax and his tail settles on the musty carpeted floor. What? Looks back through one of the doorways beside him, then back to me, his scaled brow furrowed. For a moment my mind blanks and I'm not sure what to do with my paws. It's really stuffy in here. Flynn looks at me questioningly. The only people who work here are reptiles, so we keep the habitat all dry and such. Oh, this is a typo. His gaze shifts back to the doorway again before returning to me. Is something you want? Pretty busy. I clear my throat, crossing my arms over my chest. Yeah, I was hoping to get permission to film around City Hall and take a look at some records. What, what records were you looking to go through? Well, I don't know. Flynn stares at me with an indiscernible expression. I'm just looking for anything I can use in my report. So you don't have a parcel number, or a date, or anything. You just want to, what, browse? Well, maybe you can point me in the right direction. You're the city clerk, after all. Flynn looks at a raspy exhale, moving to take a seat in his swivel chair on the front desk, his tail coiling around the base. Alright, the reading room is off limits on account that monsoon season took out a portion of its roof cover last. I can set you up in the mailroom with a microfiche and a computer for the time being. Grabs it at the edge of his desk, staring at the tips of his fingers. I need to check with the mayor to see what all you've got access to. Flynn's about to stand up again with another Gila steps into the room. Is that his aunt? Mom? Aunt. She's slightly overweight and decked out in khaki shorts with a matching outdoorsy button. top. Oh, I wonder if like that's the reason why they both brings it. Yeah, there must be like a mother or aunt, grandmother. Despite being indoors, she does a large sunhead, also cocky, with a vibrant floral bandana around her neck. It smiles with the mare. Flynn's aunt, it's the aunt. Okay. I thought I heard another voice, and I want to give her like a southern black woman. But I heard another voice in here. I catch whiff of her perfume, a strong sweet pea scent that seems to fill the room. Her slitted blue-green eyes focus on me. It's almost like she's sizing me up. Are you from the Are you from the Grand Committee? I pause, quickly shaking my head. No, no, sorry. She visibly seems to deflate, her brow lowering and her eyelids drooping to a half-littered lull. Ah, I'm Chase. I'm Chase, Flynn's friend. That's so. Another one then. She looks over towards Flynn, who's currently rubbing his temple. He responds quickly. What do you mean another one? An old friend. Childhood. You've met Chase before, I'm pretty sure. Or at least seen him around the town. She seems to think for a moment before a look of realization comes to her. Oh, I almost didn't recognize you with that thing on your chin. I most certainly remember you. I blink, reaching up and covering my goatee instinctively. You were the one who always paddling around with the weird fella. Leo, weren't you? Gay couple. That came out of that sounded out of pocket. Ah, gay couple, right? I chuckled a bit sheepishly, nodding. Having spent the past 3 years at Pueblo, I'm not used to people talking about me like this as Atlantis was. Yes, sort of. I mean, yes. She exchanges a glance with Flynn, who's looking a bit tense. Chase is doing a school project on the town, and wants access to records we've got on hand. Fill out a request form yet? No, he just wants to browse, I guess. Well, it's only public record stuff that I want to take a look at. You still have to go through the process. Usually the requests are just a parcel at a time. What sort of school project is his forte? Well, I'm a journalism major at the University of Pueblo. I have to create a documentary style video report on something. I chose Echo. Ah, you aren't aiming to smear us to the general public then, aren't you? Her Jones suggests she's joking, but she has that same intense look that Flynn has where I can't really tell for sure. No, no, Mayor. You know, we have a grant application that we're interested in putting out, and that requires a video entry detailing the sites around town. Would you be interested in that sort of thing? Well, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'd have to know more about the project. Honestly, I can't imagine the sheer amount of sugarcoating that I need to muster to create a positive report about this place. Fill this out! Flynn is pushing a form across the desk my way. Mayor clears her throat. Chase, where it asks for a lot possible requests, you can put all inventory. Alright, will do. As I take a pen from Flynn and begin to write, I see him look up to his aunt. All inventory? Yes? Alright then. He huffs some idly. Podcasters on Flynn's computer speakers are going to detail about curing complex fictionets and trappings. I'll leave you two boys to it then. Welcome back to Echo, Chase. It's good to be back. Flynn suddenly rolls his eyes, turning back to his computer. The mayor just smiles before heading back to what I assume is her office. I finished up the form in silence, pushing it back towards Flynn. He squints at it for a moment before speaking. Any word from Leo? Topic changes, catches me off guard. I look up to see Flynn leaning in close, his voice lowered. Yeah, he believed the whole spending the night of Carl's story. Carl went along with it? Uh huh. I ended up telling the whole truth though. I guess I started feeling a real shit about all this lying. Flynn leans back in his chair suddenly, clenching his eyes shut tight. He opens his mouth like he's going to say something, but merely shakes his head. Chase, you fucking realize that when this week is over, you just get to go back to fucking college land. And I'm stuck here with the results of all your shitty choices. You know Kyle as well as I do. He wouldn't go telling Leo to start drama. Yeah, Kyle is a chill guy. And anyway, he saw us. You know, by your truck. Flynn's eyes open and just stares at the ceiling for a long moment. Fuck it. Let's get your musky ass set up with a goddamn county guest login so we can access our GIS maps. He scoots back over towards his computer, beginning to type something in. I catch a glimpse of his desktop wallpaper. It looks like some sort of waterfall surrounded by a lush evergreen forest. It's kind of blurry, like a smaller image stretched to fit the side screen. I also see a few transparent stock image logos overlaid on top. Okay, that is actually what it is. We got physical records. The real old one stored in the mailroom, though I wouldn't say the shit there is very browsable. Some religious historical society types came by 8 months ago and helped us archive a lot of it. They're all in the label manila folders along the south wall. Flynn turns back to the computer, pecking at the keyboard for a clerk. He's not remotely a fast typer. Oh damn, I forgot to ask permission to film here. Flynn grunts. Permission granted. Go do that while I get this fucking thing working. Glancing back at the screen, I see incorrect password. Two remaining entries before lockout flash up. Oh damn. After looking at his keyboard, it takes me only a couple seconds to figure out what's wrong. Flynn? What? He snaps at me and I can see his pointed teeth between his steel lips for a moment. You have caps lock on. Flynn pounds the cap lock key with some extra force before returning back to his typing. Thanks. Now fuck off for a bit. I stare at him and I can't help but feeling a twisting sensation in my chest. I'm not sure if I expected him to treat me differently after doing what we did, but I definitely didn't think he'd treat me worse. I try to think of something to say to make this not awkward as it seems to be getting. Yet the longer I sit here, the more uncomfortable he seems to get. I guess I'm just literally leering at him like a creep right now. Fuck. I get up and head out, deciding keeping my mouth shut is the best course of action for the time being. As I step outside, the first thing I see is Kyle down on his knees in the gravel, the tripod upright beside him. His large shoulders are shaking some, and I can hear rasps squeals in between his shuffling movements. Carl? Carl's shuffling stops. The ram turns his head to look at me, the whites of his eyes looking like the color of bubble gum. Guess he wasn't sobering as much as I thought he was. Fuck, dude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Fuck. It just slipped and shit because I think it's too hard to put on. Like it won't lock. There is no click. As I approach, seeing my camera splayed out in front of him in the gravel on its side, Cult's clutching a snapped off battery in his paw. Oh Jesus, Carl, you dropped it? It wouldn't. It would turn out this thing fell off. He pulls out the battery casing and I quickly take it from him, beginning to try and fastening it back on. I'm real fucking sorry, man. I'll pay for it and everything. Like, I can write a note for your teacher saying it's my fault. That snap. The battery locks into place at the back of the camera. Into the sky, I flip on the power. Digital display flashes the light through the viewfinder, and I look back up at Carl. His jaw is slack, his expression vacant, almost gormless. It's fine. Looks like nothing's broken or cracked. He rubs a sizable paw across his eyes and muzzle closing his mouth. The flickering wave of relief that appears in his eyes seems to quickly dissipate, however. Ah, guess it wasn't broken. No, the battery disconnected from the camera when it slid off the tripod. Yeah, it would make it makes a lot of sense because if it's a if it's like a non rechargeable battery, then it would definitely have to come off. And also like yeah, it'll have to come off if it's non disposable. Like I do this all the time to charge them. He just kneels there, recharging, rubbing his face, and stares at the equipment. Carl, this isn't that hard. He's quiet for a second. No, it isn't. pushes himself back up to his boots. Look, all you gotta do when you try and attach the camera to the tripod is slide it up the existing grooves right here. I point at the two bevel edges of the base. Then bring it from the backside and dude, I just don't think I'm up for this right now. He's looking back towards the car, his paws in his pockets. Fine, I got this, I guess. Yeah, I'll just get it away. Eh. Give Carl a look. I know he's not obligated to help out anything. Jesus Christ. He dips his head, trudging his way back towards the car. With a sigh, I start setting up the remaining equipment myself. It takes me about 15 minutes to get it all put together in the color white balanced. Even still, the grabbing parking lot makes it difficult to accurately line up a shot. Everything ends up looking slightly crooked. And I could probably fix it all in post, but that's more work for me that I'm not looking forward to. Carl, meanwhile, has his eyes glued to his phone. It looks like he found a pair of earbuds because he's got those in too. Focusing, I take stock of the footage I got from here so far. The midday sun means that my recordings are all pretty much well lit, but I can't help that I think this sunset would be more symbolic. Maybe I'll come back later. I don't know. My phone vibrates in my shorts. Grabbing it, I see I've got a new message from Leo. With Jenna and TJ playing football. I'm assuming he's soccer, but they decide now it isn't the time to press him on choice. Oh yeah, in TJ's right, we were also playing like a lot of sports with Kuzu and TJ. So that's actually a nice callback. Sounds fun. Filming with Carl and Flynn here. I slide my phone in my pocket, unlocking the trunk on my car so that I can start putting away all this equipment. After closing the trunk, I realize that Flynn's standing at the city hall entryway with his arms crossed, staring further abroad at my vehicle. Why the fuck is Carl here just sitting in the car? I throw up my arms and shrug. Damn! His eyes, he's fucking storming off his rocker, ain't he? Flynn is swinging in the window at the ramp, which seems to barely acknowledge his presence. He ate too much of an edible this morning, apparently. Flynn looks to me, then back at Carl. Probably for the best you staying in the car then. Come on. Out. He turns, heading back inside. I follow, catching a glimpse of Carl sinking down his seat. Flynn leads me to the narrow hallways, the ceiling laden with visible old piping, and the walls covered in dents and scratches. Eventually, we turn into a colorful room that looks like a mix between an old post office and a kindergarten classroom. Alright, like I said, our car files in the back along the south wall. The computer in the corner is logged into the county's GIS viewer, maps and shit basically. It points to a cream colored color computer and that must be from around the early 2000s by the look of the make, just visible on top of the tower. Oh, so like where the native burial grounds and that sort of thing are? Flynn crosses his arms, looking back down at me. Yeah, no. As far as I know, the Mesita tribal government hasn't put forth any sacred site claims with miles enough echo. Wow, really? Really? Why's that? I don't have a whiff of shit's worth of a clue or care. Go ask Jen if you want to be all weird about it. I don't think she has much ties to her tribe. Yeah, well, it doesn't stop her from being a bitch about it when she sees fit. Flynn sucks in his cheek, as if saying that left a bit of an unpleasant taste in his mouth. Flynn speaking less than kindly towards folks isn't anything new, but it's not usually about Jenna. Looks down at some papers in his hand, as if suddenly they were very interesting. Is this about what you said when you got about Carl, the lighter from the reservation? His slitted eyes slid back to me, his lips thinned. You thought that was bullshit too, right? Well, I think she was just still in, I don't know, den mother mode in regards to TJ after what you did. If you want to get everyone talking again, you should just apologize. There's a pause in the conversation as a cloud covers shade the light coming in from the window. It's not just about the lighter crap. She doesn't give a shit about me. And she really didn't give a shit about Sydney. I blink. I'm still amazed at how much his name is being mentioned after all these years of silence on the subject, especially from Flynn. He catches my experience and grunts, the gala resting the side of his lip against the soda corner. Yeah, this soundtrack, this soundtrack sounds like something that Steeler Dynasty would like me, like Shout Dynasty. When he died, all she fussed about was how it affected TJ. Sid could what for all she cared. That's not fair. We were kids and people reacted to that sort of traumatic stuff differently. Maybe helping teachers what kept her occupied. Oh yeah? Remember a few months before it happened, when all that shit was going on with Sid's dad? And fucking Jenna. All she did was try to shield TJ from all the negativity of the situation. She tried to help. He wasn't different. I don't know. Fuck, we were just kids. No, she fucking hated Sid. Carl, Carl hated Sydney. Leo hated Sydney. TJ would never fucking admit it, but he hated Sydney. And you hated Sydney. He looks me in the eyes now. I'm quiet for a moment, trying to think of what to say. Flynn, meanwhile, just looks expectant, seemingly waiting for me to blanch and try to defend myself. Sydney was an asshole. He raises his chin some, his crossed arms seeming to squeeze more tightly over his chest. Yeah, so am I. No, not like him. Nobody knew him like I did. You said that, but that doesn't mean the crap he pulled on us, on TJ, was in any way justified. I'm pretty sure he genuinely enjoyed watching people get hurt. Flynn stays slack-jawed before quietly spitting teeth. He liked wrestling. He liked pirates. He liked pulp adventure. But he did not like helping, hurting. TJ cried every day, no matter what. You could see a dead fly on the windowsill and start bawling. And you all would drop everything and come rushing to his aid, scoring the shit out of anyone who didn't. We could make jokes, we could tease each other, we couldn't roughhouse, and we couldn't even fucking swear without TJ getting upset. It isn't like we could just hang out with someone else. This is Echo, and Leo is fucking dead set on keeping the group together. So now the group for Leo essentially consists of two members, your ass and his cock. I frown deeply before I can interject. He continues. When Sydney died, you all convinced yourselves it was this fucking monster kid that it didn't have to hurt as much. I ain't gonna apologize. Fucking hell, they should. Flynn uncrosses his arms, starting some of the sold window of the cramped mail room. The cloud cover lifts. I'll be at the front desk. If you talk something, always put it back where you found it. He turns, making his way back down the narrow hall. I'm left alone. Everything feels really quiet now, a sort of weird solace amidst shelves upon shelves of Echo's history. I rub my face and muzzle, spinning a whisker as the previous conversation plays back in my head. It begins to fade like a passing dream. With a slow exhale, I turn and I head over to the archives. They all seem to be categorized by numbers, like 105-66-009 or 107-21-001. I grab a random file off the shelf, 106-01-001. Flipping it open, I see a cluster of 15 or so papers and permits from a place called Adelaide's Thrift and Pawn. It sounds familiar and it only takes me a little bit more perusing to figure out why. Near the exit from Road 93 to Flint Road, and there's this faded old shack of rotten wood. Growing up, all that was left of the sign out front was Elade's Thrift. I think it's bulldozed now though, since I didn't see it on the drive-in. According to these documents, Adelaide Vaughnberg applied for and successfully obtained a business license and deed to the property in 1979. I'm guessing these folders correspond to a piece of property with an echo, or a parcel. That helps some, but I'm still not sure exactly where to look. I pull the file away and move over towards the computer, Flynn got ready for me. The screen displays an aerial photograph of Echo, with little polygons drawn over it, like a bizarre checkerboard. Clicking on one, nothing happens. I clicked again and the pointer turns into an hourglass, the program stating that it's not responding. Damn it. As the hourglass rolls on the screen, I think I hear the front door open down the hall. At first I wonder if it's Carl, but then a voice speaks that I don't recognize. Then Flynn's. I can only make out a little of what he says. That's what they told you at the county office? You could have come here. The hourglass spins. The unincorporation. It shouldn't affect developers who. Finally, a little window pops up listing owner, address, parcel number, links to build plans, and other fields. Slow as hell, but this is actually kind of neat, I guess. Curious, I scroll over to the location of my old house and click. This time it reacts a little faster. The complaint forms a physical. Not much of an online presence at. It's currently listed as abandoned and condemned. It looks like the people my parents sold it to dished it rather quick. I move back towards the archive, picking up my old house corresponding file and setting it down on the counter. Opening it, I see a weathered floor plan on my old house dating back to 1986. Nothing here could remotely be considered of interest for my project. However, I put the file back where I found it. As I hear the increasingly quiet rasp of Flynn's voice in the other room, I realize he's probably too busy to hold my hand with regards to where to look, especially after the previous conversation. It might be best to just give him some space. I stare at the aerial display on the computer monitor, trying to figure out where to start looking. Okay, so we have a choice on what to look at. We've already looked at the abandoned school. We already looked at Carl's mansion. I mean, in his route, we already looked at his mansion. We already did the abandoned school, city hall. I think the mine is a good place. There's something about the old mine that feels off to me. Yeah, because Samuel was also talking about the mine, so let's see if that actually plays a good part. Like pretty much every locale in Lecco, the mine was the only place that absolutely did not play. Sydney tried to make one of her scavenger hunts objective down there once, but TJ told his mom about it and that was the end of that. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and laid it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front, I guess. My hunch just might be right. Opening the file, the first thing I noticed is that there's a seriously large amount of documents here, and even a laminated old photo. Huh? That's a hell of a lot more written than these days. Might have to do when the damming did it up in north in the 50s. I'm guessing CM1 1915 is referring to the year the photo was taken. Within the folder itself, many of the documents seem to be legal in nature, including documentation about a lawsuit of some sort. One pop seems to relate to the tourism program. I could try to take a look. There's a few papers about a historical heritage grant, the installation of a bench and two lamps outside the mine's entrance. There's even reference to a large placard installed on the side of the rock face inside. But I don't remember even seeing that. Following this, there's another folder within that contains some condemned notes and a squatter eviction dating from 1970 to 1975. That folder also the works notes of work altered from the installation on about and the mine front event in 1976. Next, there's the actual lawsuit documentation itself. Lawsuit contributed in part to the official closing of the mine during the war in 1942. The working conditions were abysmal. The owners of the mines were also heavily involved in town government, so there was corruption charges. The Danica mine, also known as CSCG, copper, silver, coal, gold. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if this is actually how mine in real life work. Was the most in-demand employer in the northern portion of this state for decades. This was in little part due to the management by the owners, but rather the natural conditions of the mine itself. The structure of the bedrock kept caves in, unlikely, and its chemical composition kept the temperature stable and somewhat bearable. Flooding was of minor concern due to the lower water table of the region. In other mines within the state, miners may have been expected to stand in 2 feet of dirty water in 40 degrees temperatures, at all which the threat of a cave-in loomed, amplified with every strike on the sledgehammer. Yet even still, the mine manages to have one of the highest casualty rates with workers in all Southeast. The suit argues that this was at root due to severe negligence by the owner, Gregory Briggs. Miners were required to buy their own tools, including candles, sledges, picks, sticks, and even dynamite. That's kind of sad because they should like provide stuff to the people. The wages, however, were of such little amount that many miners must have been forced to choose between having these tools and their family being able to eat that week. Many chose the latter, as most men who moved to Echo did so with the explicit benefits of being able to provide for said families. Briggs operated in the mine under constant fear of worker unionization. The sewage that he hired incredibly nationally diverse assortment of workers. His rationale, though, denied in court, was ensured that no group of workers spoke the same language, thus reducing the chances of collaborating for better working conditions for wages. This preventative action was particularly heightened due to the nature of the work itself. Communication was crucial, especially in the low-light conditions of the lower depths. Despite the language barrier, miners were expected to coordinate group mining procedures. For example, for standard ore extraction, one miner would hold a spike in the mine hole, while another miner swung the sledge towards the spike. Livestock being scarce, it meant that the risk of striking another miner with a sledge was a constant risk, and something that occurred with some frequency. Many miners were killed from blows to the paws of the arms, and they once fired were unable to support their families. This led to several notable starvation incidents within the town. The Lords of documents also includes reference to a riot in 1950, where a grisly murder took place within the mines itself. I made sure to write summaries of all the information on a black sheet of blank printer paper before putting everything back. This sort of crap makes me glad I live in the age I do now. I don't think I'll make a very good miner. Alright, that's that, I guess. Uh, City Hall. I achieved the corresponding file, okay. You basically do this. Who's this? Whoa. If that is really the date of origin on the top of right, this photo of the guys was taken at City at Hall 100 years ago. Look back down on the folder, finding a caption for the image. Sheriff William Adler left, and Wensleydale researcher Cliff Tibbetts right. A town meeting to discuss Echo Mesita tribe relationships. Okay, so this is the sheriff. This is the researcher. Oh, I wonder if Carl this sounds like the Minecraft split music. I'm being honest. I wonder if these guys were also associated with Carl Hendricks the whatever. Like I want because like it mentions Mesita and Echo and Mesita tribe relations. So I wonder if they are. I wonder if Carl is involved with this. Like Carl's ancestor is involved with this. Wonder if John is also involved with this too. Like in this in. I wonder if John and Carl are like in the same generation as his people. Probably not, but you know. Adla. I realize now that Janice is his name. Must have been a distant relative of hers. The rest of the documents in the folder just seem to consist of proposed additions to and use changes for the building. A lot of them didn't pan out. There's a city government roster here though, and it lists the historical election results for the town going back to the earlier 20th century. Surprisingly, Flynn and his aunt are the only Moors I've seen on the list. Looks like the Moore family has been involved in the public office in some capacities back in 1914. Which is doubly surprising, noticing the prejudice against the reptilians that was pretty heavy back then. There's this whole negative theory about them, about being evil and controlling the government that persists even today. So it's pretty weird a family like the Moores managed to keep getting elected back when the ignorance levels were much higher. Yeah, I wonder if they had I wonder if they did something that was I don't know good or bad, and then that was what allowed them to be in that office. I'll make a note to ask them about it as sensitively as possible. Go ahead. Okay. So what's next? Let's do Carl's mentioned last. The school doesn't exist, or it might just be misplaced, or that could be the case. If I'm going to go with the second theory, maybe I'll ask Flynn about it later. Okay, so school doesn't really. I know about Carl's family to know that his house is seriously old. His his great great something or another in the town found after all. The place has seriously modernized into a more stucco adobe style, but there's some history underneath all that. Growing up, Carl overheard all this and started thinking the place was haunted. It freaked him out pretty badly. So much though his parents basically begged me to have sleepovers with him during weekends, and even some weekdays. Not that I minded, of course. Carl had all the video game consoles that were out. His parents bought him everyday games. I gotta stay up late for his giant TV, blowing up aliens and running over bridges. Remember, he started to become less afraid as time went on. Okay. So of course, shitbag younger me will call a bunch of stories about ghosts. Oh yeah, you said this so that like you can stay in his house for a month. Damn! Damn! Buffed up and everything. Buffed up and everything on a Tuesday morning. Buffed up and anything. Buffed up, buffed up on everything, and shirtless on a Wednesday afternoon. Oiled up. Damn! Oh wait, this is sheriff. Wow. A part of my mind immediately flashed back to Leo, but he wasn't anywhere close to being like this defined. Yeah, this motherfucker right here. This guy has been eating his 6 food picks a day and his rice and dal every day. He's been eating his 6 food picks and rice and dal every day. That is how he ended up so buff. Yeah, ain't no way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy can box and body up Leo immediately. I guess life in the early 20th century would do that to you. It does, especially working as a miner. I gotta tell you this. Any physical labor will do this to you. I should probably just read the caption for this that was attached. Sheriff William Adler rests after surviving the partial collapse of the Hendricks Castle. The Hendricks Castle? Below the notes are some rather old rudimentary building plans, troubling at the edges. The penmanship is all weird cursive, and I can't read that. You can't read cursive? It does. It does look a little like Carl's house, but much, much larger. What follows are a series of deed transfers from various members of the Hendricks family, eventually more modern building plans. There's even a card from a magazine, Southwestern Modern, which shows off the kitchen space where it was first redesigned. And notice something wedged in the back, a beige piece of paper that doesn't look anything else in here. A poem. Why would this be in here? Okay, embrace of these lands, Boyk. I want to read it. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's reading it for us. As black takes the sky, hot turns to cold. The safety of ignorance from the spectres of the day. Shut their eyes, they wail, for the dark blanket, and to save them from hell, and the blonde tarantula pulls itself from the depths, wrought within and without, in search of a suitor who will not live past the vehemence of its love. Oh, I need a screenshot this shit. This looks bussin'. This shit cool as hell. I'm immediately keeping that. I flip over the poem and set it down on the counter. Oh, on the other side is a notice of death for a reference in an estate transfer. It's for James Hendricks, who passed away in 1930. Oh, okay, so he wasn't really involved in like Sam. I wonder if Samuel. No, because in Leo's right he also mentions what is it, William and like other people in the mines. So he would be involved with those people like William Adler and Mr. Tibbetts, whatever. So it's not like James was involved in the time period. He just did things that affected the generation of the miners. The cause of death is listed as poison infection, teraphosphidae, teraphosphidae, ter- teraphosis, teraphosphidae, teraphosphidae, tarantula. Oh yeah, because he got infected. He got a ter- tarantula poisoning. It's pretty unsettling. I didn't think tarantulas were poisonous. I mean, I know they aren't because a few searched the information online one after. Maybe he got an infection. Yeah, because he got like a mite infection. I guess the poem was some sort of formula epitaph for this guy. Regardless, it's a shitty way to die. It's like the poem. Death Note is back to the folder. Make a note of it for the project. I think that's all for this puzzle, so I placed the folder back in its slot of the south wall. As I turn around, I see that Maya is standing in the doorway. She's peering at me quizzically. A little startled, I straighten up. Oh, hi, Maya. We're just finishing up. She was watching me speak, like staring at my mouth, not my eyes. It's honestly freaking me out a little. She doesn't respond. Mayor? Make sure you put everything back where you found it. Oh, yeah, don't worry. I did that already. Did you know? She steps in the room and picks up a folder from the edge of the counter. I recognize it as the one from the abandoned mines. Yeah, I forgot about that one. So the abandoned mines, because they mention it's Chekhov's gun. The fact that he mentions like not placing it and like he showed strong significance towards it, like means that's gonna play a huge part. He stands there with the folder held out, waiting for me. I quickly mold it and take the folder, trying to ignore the hard stare I feel on my back as I walk out to the archive wall. Far left, far left, far left, and second copy from the top. Oh, thank you. I did. Hmm? Looks like Flynn's about ready to take off. You gonna give him some company? The way she phrases that makes me reconsider a hasty response. Sure, I can hang out with him and his roommate. You have a bar in your car? I blink. I have a Carl in my car, yes. He wanted to hang back while I did all the work, huh? I feign a chuckle, though not very well. I've never been good at the whole smiling with your eyes thing. Carl Hendricks? Yeah. Have a good rest of your evening, Chase. Thank you, Mayor. You too. She moves on down the hall. After a moment, I follow suit to meet up with Flynn at the front desk. Ooh, that's skeevy. After that, she just walked back to her office and shut the door, like almost slamming it. Maybe she's not a fan of you queer types. Carl puts on a southern drawl from that last bit. I step out the car and prop my trunk, moving to gather up my equipment. The sun is starting to get pretty low at this point. There's not really any tall mountains to the east, so Echo Sunset tends to last a while. Maybe, but she seemed alright with Flynn. Carl follows sweet, though his eyes are still glued to his phone. I can't get over that whole there's a boy in your car bit. Yeah, she seemed kinda, I don't know, weirded out with me or something. But she wasn't like that when we met. She was pretty cordial then. As I shut the trunk, I spy Flynn's truck parked behind the house, as well as what looked like a faded yellow moped. I'm assuming that one is his roommate. Uh, the Ram shrugs. You are kind of weird. Maybe you did that staring thing you do sometimes? I blink. The what? Never mind, man. I frown. Carl looks up from his phone long enough to catch my expression. I'm just kidding. Just making fun of Flynn's whole dressing you down back at the river. Carl smirks. His eyes are no longer glazed over, and it actually felt like he's looking at me rather than a thousand miles away. We make our way back up to the front door, Carl tapping away at the screen. I had to imagine my house was even bigger back in the day, though. My parents already had more rooms than we know what to do with. Like, we've got three spare bedrooms, right? But we never had any guests or anything, so they don't get used and just gather dust and stuff. Do your parents make you clean them? Carl rolled his shoulders, idly wiping his hooves upon the rough palm fiber for a welcome map. Sometimes. Knowing Carl, it makes pretty much never. Once inside, the familiar hot stuffy climate hits a wool blanket thrown around. It's like a wool blanket thrown around me. What sounds like some sort of lo-fi hip-hop is playing in the background. From what I assume is Dexton's room. I want to hang out with Daxton like in real life. The interior is dimly lit with the exception of a bright white light coming from a jar fridge. Daxton stands next to it, holding a block of pale cheese. Is this what you need? The salamander seems to be peering at us expectantly. No. He raises a brow ridge, craning his neck to look past us. Talking to Flynn, the gearless lad's self steps out of the laundry room, besides us looking to Daxton. Oh, sorry. Carl gives me a sidelong smirk. That's the provolone! The recipe needs Havarti. Flynn steps past us without much acknowledgement, looking to the kitchen besides Daxton. We had a block of Havarti, but it's in the freezer. There's this thing called a deep fresh setting on the microwave. Yeah, but you left the fish you caught on top of it. The pack is sealed. That shouldn't matter. The whole freezer kind of, the whole freezer kind of reeks. Like I said, the package is sealed. That shouldn't matter. With a shrug to Carl, I move in and set my equipment down next to the kitchen island. I take a seat on one of the wicker top bar stools. Carl lingers in my entryway a bit before moving to sit on the stool next to mine. Flynn wordlessly goes to my fridge and grabs two bottles of light beer, popping the tops and setting them down in front of us. Thanks. I'm not 21 yet legally, you know. Flynn shrugs uncaringly before getting a beer for himself. Looking around, the countertops are pretty free of clutter beyond a mist of community college letters and a heavily used black notebook. The notebook is labeled World Building in Fictional History 204. A few water stains have shriveled the edges of the page. Daxton places the provolone back into the fridge and places the allegedly fishy Havarti on a plastic cutting board. Meanwhile, Flynn is now at the sink, washing vegetables. Dustin grabs a small knife and finally glances back at me. Welcome back, Chief. I wave a bit limp-wristed. Hey, he smiles, then shifts his gaze to Carl, the ram looking up from his phone a little apprehensively. And hey, I've seen you before, but I forgot your name. Sam something? Carl. He answers, his voice quiet. Oh, well, good to meet you. Usually you kind of in and out real quick, like when you don't come by. Carl shrugs. Yeah, same. The ram's gaze flicks back to his phone, Carl typing something. Daxton frowns slightly before shifting his focus back to cheese cutting. Looking over, it looks like he's texting. The contents of said message being, eh, Hey, Carl! Flynn looks over to his shoulders, grabbing at what looks like a cucumber. You got your outfit booked up for the interview on Saturday? Why are you always stroking phallically shaped things, man? Yeah. Wait, what? Carl, you have a job interview? Yep. Oh yeah, we know what's gonna happen. I found myself smiling a bit. Carl didn't tell me about this at all, and I'm surprised he didn't mention it earlier. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it from here, guys. Thank you for uh thanks for watching this. And I hope to see you in the next one. Manda manda.